A low pressure system will make its way across the Great Lakes region tomorrow, bringing the potential for a rain-snow mix in the north and maybe a few thunderstorms in the south. In this video, I'm going to go over exactly what those thunderstorms are going to entail, as well as the warm and dry trend that we have coming into next week, and the warm and dry trend that likely will exist through much of November. The time is 9:25 p.m. and it is November the 7th. Welcome to another update from Great Lakes Weather. Hope everybody's doing well today. Again, that low pressure system moving through is going to probably be the bigger story that we're going to discuss in this video, but I'm also going to discuss the potential for a warmer and drier November and warmer and drier winter overall, given the fact that El Nino is situated out in the Pacific. So we're going to get into quite a bit of details with regards to this winter weather forecast, also issued from the Climate Prediction Center, and we'll have to see how it goes. Again, climate trends may lead to some conclusions about the season, but again, it's always the weather that really comes down to. So we are going to get right into it, first of all, with the Storm Prediction Center's forecast for tomorrow. So you see, again, northeast Indiana, northern Ohio, and much of lower Michigan in a general thunderstorm risk. Again, this is not for severe weather, but it is still showing the potential for some thunderstorms existing across Michigan and areas to the east. Now, I do expect this to be mostly after sunset. Now, I can't rule out a few showers and thunderstorms, particularly along that warm front that is going to be associated with this low pressure system, but it looks like most of the storms are going to develop after it gets dark, and they're going to develop and approach the lake shore during around 7 p.m. it appears. So again, there's still some questions being raised as to when those storms will actually hit and where the position of that warm front is going to be, but it is all going to be something to consider as this low moves through. So first of all, again, this is kind of more of the current time that we're dealing with right now, and you can see that there is some precipitation that is going to be expected to develop overnight into parts of the Upper Peninsula, particularly areas closer to Copper Harbor, places like that. So expect a wintry mix up in that area, and you can see that the snow kind of progresses across much of the Upper Peninsula. Can't rule out maybe an inch or two in that region. Not going to be too much snow accumulation, and again, I don't really see good potential for lake effect snow on the backside of this, as this low pressure system is going to be situated down to the south. But you can see by the time we get into around 1 p.m. on Wednesday, much of the area is dealing with some rain showers, maybe even some ice pellets here and there that are falling. And then you can see that this warm front is starting to really show itself in parts of central Michigan. Now, the expectation is that a few thunderstorms will likely develop ahead of that, also under favorable amounts of wind shear. So this is around 8 p.m. You see that there are some shower thunderstorms developed along around this low pressure system here. You get a sounding around those storms. You do notice that there is an ample amount of storm relativity, a lot of spin in the atmosphere, good strong updraft, lots of speed and directional shear. I think this would be something that could amount to maybe some possible hail, especially also since these storms are going to be relatively elevated. You have instability focused in above 1 kilometer above the atmosphere, so the cloud bases are elevated. You do have low tops, but I do think you could see some icy stuff develop with this as that water vapor gets kicked up around in the atmosphere. A lot of spin associated with these storms that will be moving through. So the question is, will they produce hail? Again, marginal severe potential. We'll have to see how things turn out, but it does look like some of these storms could amount to some hail potential with a few of these. So just something to keep in mind. We might have some hail, maybe some strong wind gusts embedded in some, but I think those will likely be relatively off the table. I think it's more of a hail threat. You see these progressing through. The low pressure system moves off to the east. You do get some snowfall, maybe a little bit of lake effect on the backside. I don't expect there to be too much though with this moving through, and I don't really think that the freezing temperatures will reach down into southern Michigan, Indiana, or Ohio. So it's really just looking like a low pressure system moving through, and then we move into a warming period after this low pressure system. So looking at the GFS model, let's take a look and examine exactly what's going on. So tomorrow you have that trough that's moving through, and that low pressure system is kind of following along with it, and that trough will dig into the Upper Peninsula, areas in eastern Canada, western Canada, western Ontario region, Lake Huron, that trough digs through, and then notice what happens as we get into the weekend. As we get to the weekend, you start to see kind of an expansive ridge start to build into the western part of the United States. That ridge is expected to shift eastward and get much larger and much stronger as it approaches the eastern side. Now, the expectation we have with that is a high pressure system that's going to kind of allow warmer air to settle inside of it. So it looks like we're going to see a warming trend into the middle of next week. I expect temperatures in the mid to upper 50s, maybe even getting into the 60s near the latter half of next week. And I think this is going to be more of a common trend across much of the winter season that we have with the El Nino. Again, what I'm talking about with the El Nino is if we expand out to a larger map here, El Nino typically means that areas in the Central Pacific, if I can get a better view of the Central Pacific, I don't know if we have graphics for that, but the Central Pacific out here is actually much warmer than normal, and in fact it's at a very high amount, and we call that an El Nino pattern. What an El Nino pattern does is that the warming of the Pacific Ocean waters will actually strengthen the jet stream, the Pacific jet stream in this area, and cause a lot more movement of air in this region, and it weakens the polar jet stream and shifts it back farther to the north. Now, what does that mean for us? Well, that will likely mean a warmer season of winter as we go through it, because again, a weaker polar jet stream means it's going to be lifted off farther to the north. It's going to take a lot more effort for that jet stream to dig down into our region. So that's something that we'll have to watch out for. But it looks like that jet stream will be weakened, pushed farther up to the north, and it looks like that will also lessen the amount of lessen the strength of the jet that settles over our area. So I do expect it to be a warmer and drier winter across Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio. I do think Indiana and Ohio are going to be the better target areas for any type of weather activity, and I think Michigan will likely stay drier. And the SPC, or the CPC, Climate Prediction Center, hints at this as well. First of all, 8 to 14-day temperature outlook up towards Thanksgiving is looking well above average and also drier than average if you were to look at it on the Climate Prediction Center's website. All accessible by you. You can take a look at that yourself. Seasonal temperature outlook, you can see that through January of 2024, we are expecting warmer than average in the places we would expect with a typical El Nino season. Again, warmer than average temperatures because, again, that polar jet stream is going to be lifted farther to the north as a result of that El Nino pattern that is in the Pacific right now. Also drier than average across southern Michigan, even into getting parts of Indiana and Ohio. A small potential for below average, and I think it likely will be lower than average. And again, Indiana, Ohio, the southern areas will likely see more precipitation than areas to the north. So I think that's kind of a projection that we have for winter at this time, and I think that is likely what is going to occur over the next few months. So just something to keep in mind. And I know this video is kind of brief. We're going to kind of stop there. Not really too much action going on ahead of this event. I will not be chasing this event. It's going to be too dark. Maybe get out and see some lightning, but that's probably the extent of what I do. So thanks for watching. Hopefully this little brief snip of the weather over the next couple of weeks was beneficial to you. Make sure to subscribe and stay updated. I continue to do these whenever there's some active weather that is likely going to occur across any Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, and I'm getting close to finally producing that video regarding the history of vehicle accidents during volatile weather. I'm getting close to that video being produced, so that will come out soon. Make sure to subscribe and stay updated. Hopefully this was helpful to you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all later.